What's up, everybody? It's Friday. It's the nerd.
Yeah.
Happy Friday, everybody.
Wow.
Right on time. You know, MK is like, so 8:30? I'm like, no. 8:24.
Yeah.
8:24.
Hi,
We're-
MK.
See, this is what I call beating expectations.
Yeah. Oh,
How you
Man.
guys doing? How you guys doing?
Wow.
doing all right, man.
Good, man.
Wow. Just wow.
How you doing, Andrew?
Good. Good.
All right.
You guys missed a good live stream. Me and the Zach man had some decent conversations, and we actually had a couple of my old regulars come into the show. Well, Manuel, of course, from the Scam Channel showed up, but Fearful Milk and Richard Corbin
Oh,
all
nice.
showed up. So
Right
yeah,
on.
yeah, we had 3 viewers.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's excellent.
how many we got right now?
Andrew, you're a piece of shit. I'm kicking you right now. Hold on.
Go ahead.
There you go. God, dude. See,
Man,
Dustin's
I'm-
not here tonight.
Yeah, so you got to kick him.
MK's like, clearly you got me, you son of All right, Andrew, you gonna be good tonight? No?
No, he's not.
You're not gonna be good tonight?
No,
Good.
I'm not
Well,
my
I'll tell you
normal
what, man.
usual self.
I have, this is one of those weeks. I just have I've been keeping a little browser open with all this cool stuff to talk about, and it's just full, man. It's absolutely crazy. MK says, at least he's honest. Yeah. You know,
Yeah,
I
I'm
guess.
always honest with you, Todd.
yes. Yeah.
When have I ever lied to you?
I wish you would sometimes.
Our relationship was never built on lies.
This is true.
Brutal honesty.
Brutal
honesty.
brutal honesty.
When I tell you
Blunt
your
force.
joke, when I tell you your joke in that thread that we had going on earlier was way too soon. It was way too soon.
Blunt force honesty.
Yeah.
How you doing, Doc?
I'm good, man. I just got back from a little family getaway over the weekend.
That's cool.
Thought he was gonna say like Little Havana or something.
Nah. We went to Branson, Missouri.
Oh,
Oh, that's where my mother-in-law's going next weekend.
Yeah, I remember you saying you were going to head down that way. It was
Yeah,
cool,
well,
man.
she's going to Branson, and then we're gonna
You're
meet
going
up at the Lake of the Ozarks.
Right, you're going to like
What's-
Bagnell Dam or something,
what's
right?
in Branson?
Oh, dude, it's like it's like little Nashville.
Oh,
with-
that's cool.
You know, it's just like they've got a strip, little highway strip. It's down off this beautiful lake called Table Rock Lake, which
Mhm.
is kind of like part of the whole Ozarks thing. And back in the 40s, there's this regional story. This group called the Bald Knobbers that were like these vigilantes, right? They were mostly Union, but some Confederate. They're just like vigilantes trying to bring law back to, Kansas Missouri border war. So it was just kind of wacky. And then in the 40s, this family, there was a book written about it called The Shepherd of the Hills. And in the 40s, it was all in that area. And in the 40s, someone made the kind of like a show or production based off of that. And from that sprung this whole like Branson country music, authentic sort of thing. So like everyone, like Boxcar Willie was the first major country performer to have a theater there. Like Yakov Smirnoff's had a theater there forever. They've got, a lot of these like family country shows that, whatever. And then, it's just a really popular destination for kind of that old, not always, but, for a long time, just like where the, Waylon Jennings would stop in there and Dolly Parton's got this thing where it's like Stampede, and it's a dinner show where they have this huge arena and they come out and they feed you, and they have like these horses and trick riding and all this kind of stuff going on. And then they've got Silver Dollar City, which is a theme park. It's a 1850s themed theme park. So they have things like, they have all these artisans. So there's, a knife maker, glass blower, candy maker, candle leather work, quilts, whatever.
Oh, wow.
They do demonstrations throughout the day, and then they've got roller coasters, and they've got like 5 roller coasters and some family type rides. But it's all themed really cool. So yeah, it's just, and they had the bluegrass and barbecue festival going on. So they had a lot of bluegrass bands there at the theme park. So we went down for that and then caught a show. And then they have awesome go-kart tracks out there too. So we hit up some go-karts and mini golf. And it's just like a really cool, like it gets joked about a lot. Like I know The Simpsons had some jokes about it, and it gets joked about in shows and TVs because it's just, it's you know, whatever. It's like Reno to Vegas, you know, like Branson to Nashville, but you know, without, you know, kind of thing. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. It's just good, wholesome, like old school country picking, you know, family kind of stuff. And I let my hillbilly out. You know,
That's awesome, man.
I go down there, and then my wife always makes fun of me because it comes out like, I don't do that.
That's awesome.
You know? Yeah,
well,
so
good.
Pretty cool.
I'm glad you had time to relax and have a chill time. And that sounds awesome. You'll have to do
Yeah, had to, man. I've been on so many trips, and then I'm getting ready to go to Austin again. I owe the family, and it's like a 4-hour drive, you know, or 3.5 hour to go down there, and you know, so it was cool. Blue Samurai Zero is here. It says, "Hey Avery, just got my The People #2 in the mail. Hopefully, I'll get to read it before I die."
Awesome.
And then he says,
"Thanks for backing."
Right. That's right, Tom. One day I will die. You can sleep easy.
That's right.
Thanks for backing. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty cool. Well, guys, man, I feel like I've got so much to share and talk about. There's a bunch of cool shit going on and some weird stuff too. I've been trolling YouTube while I'm working. You know, I'm finishing up the WAGMI book. I'm working on a cover, and working on some other stuff with them, getting the tech stuff ready and just all the pieces to go in. And so I've been keeping myself motivated by watching as many comic things on YouTube as possible. Like I have burned through like the entire Image years, like multiple times, but I think that's okay. But I found some really interesting things. So the first thing I want to share, I got a bunch of stuff, so we can take turns. The first thing I found was this. Have you guys seen this? This is a tour of the Dark Horse comic offices from the mid-90s.
Oh no, that sounds really cool.
Right?
No, I haven't seen it.
You want to check it out?
Check it out.
Yeah.
Let's see.
How long is it?
Most discerning eye.
It's 5 minutes, but I think we can maybe like speed it up a little bit.
Okay.
What do you think? Should I speed it up?
Go for it.
World to spot the first issue of Superman. I know you've got a collectible comic book on your hands. But could you spot the next generation of collectible comics? For example, the first issue of Concrete. It's published by a company called Dark Horse in Milwaukee, Oregon. You may know them better for this character, the Mask. We're going to take you inside Dark Horse and show you how they make comic books. First stop, Studio Saurus, where we find artist Ron Randall toiling away on the next Predator comic. This is the story of the...
Oh, Ron Randall doing Predator. All right, that's pretty awesome.
That looks cool.
The Predator character, who's an alien that comes to Earth to hunt human beings for sport. Sometimes the job isn't pleasant, but I have to tell the story as it happens. Well, Ron, where are we in the process here? Where are you in the process? Hopelessly lost in the jungles of South America. But actually, I'm at the stage where I'm doing type pencils on the layouts that I've done. What I'm doing is I'm telling a story through a series of pictures. You ever look at some of the characters and think they may be taking the musculature a little too far? Way over the top. I look at some of these and I say, get thee to an anatomy class. What I found when I was working on Spider-Man was the more, the farther up I would bring his knees when he's swinging through the city, and the farther out I would throw his elbows and stuff, the more like Spider-Man. Look, don't try this at home. I'm a trained professional. Faster than a... How's that, Jim? Cool. Let me try that. Be my guest. Pretty good, huh? Good news.
Just look really quick, man. Blue Samurai says he's got to go back to job number 2. And he has that concrete issue, dude. Paul Chadwick is awesome. Yeah. I was just looking at this too, like as they're going through this simple little video, just the basic artwork is like so much better than the shit that comes out now. Like,
Hell yeah.
I remember this Mask comic and it was okay, right?
I don't ever remember Dark Horse's offices being like a bullpen, and that's exactly what this looks like.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
We've got to go back to that. We've really got to go
man.
back to that, creating comics in a bullpen type atmosphere. You know?
Yeah, I even if I'll even second that. Even if nowadays we just did this, like where we're all drawing on screen in our own offices or just working on screen in our own offices, I think just that is like, that's really the magic. You know what I mean? We'll have to do that. You're retired, Andrew. I do this all day. We'll have to work on that.
No, this is, guys, I hate to say it, but the future of my company involves my children and my son-in-law and my
I'm not talking about that.
grandchildren.
I'm just talking about as you work.
No, I'm going to have a bullpen of my own creative,
Oh, I see.
people. That's one of my goals. I mean, yeah,
You're gonna put your kids to work.
If my company gets big enough, then I will hire them all, and they will have. I already told my son-in-law that he's my
Editor-in-chief.
I've forgotten the name of the guy. What is Ivanka's husband?
Trump's
daughter's
Jared Kushner.
Kushner. Yes, I told my son-in-law he's my Jared Kushner, and he looked at me like, "What the hell are you?"
I don't even know what that means, but okay. Look, more.
He's Trump's son-in-law. He's part of the business. He's a high up in the business. He's got his daughter. He's got his daughter. He's got his son. I was getting there.
You're trying to say a family-run business, I think.
Yes,
and all working together, and
my son is Trump Jr. and my daughter's Ivanka, and
that makes no
my
sense.
son-in-law is now Jared Kushner, whatever his name is. That's the future of my company, is my family.
Good news, parents. Spelling and grammar do matter to the production artists at Dark Horse. We do all the spelling corrects, art corrects, lettering corrects. What if "arg" is spelled wrong? I mean, who spots things like that?
Yo, just look what he's working on. Did you notice what that was?
Yes, Sin City.
Sin City.
Lettering
he's
corrects. What if
He's just casually working on pages that are now worth,
Didn't Frank Miller do the lettering himself?
Yeah, I believe so.
All right,
But-
so
well,
they
the-
must be just looking at that page and
looking
not
at it.
actually working on it.
it's spelled wrong? I mean, who spots things like that? That happens. What exactly are you doing?
Well, right now I'm working on a Sin City book by Frank Miller. Frank Miller, everybody loves him. All the fans love him. They go crazy over his work.
How would you pronounce that?
Now, is that Lynn Varney?
Huh?
Is that Lynn Varney?
I don't know if that's Lynn Varney. I think that's one of the editors from Dark Horse.
Okay.
Was that Dinah?
Oh, I guess Sin City would have been well before Lynn, because she was involved in Dark Knight Returns.
MK says clearly it would be worth more signed by Michael Keaton.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that.
Hey, no offense, Evelyn, but I think I could have done this one.
Mm-hmm.
Next stop, the colorist. Generally, I get to pick the colors. I get to pick what happens scene to scene. You're dictated by things that explode and stuff like that. But I get to pick what orange that is and what level of yellow and that kind of stuff. It's actually supposed to be dark and daring and try to get that bold effect with stark yellows against other little more mellow colors and try to give them pow here and there when they need it and then mellow it out. Just like composing music, I suppose, where you want to bring it down a little and bring it to some order and then blow out of control. Just the fun, the whimsy. I get to go home and explain to my girlfriend that I had to figure out good colors for a guy getting his head blown off today, or Screwy Squirrel banging a guy on the foot with a big, huge sledgehammer. You know, I had to struggle over what color I got to paint that. I mean, that's good stuff. You know, that's a lot better than having to deal with inverters.
Here's where fine art goes high tech. Dark Horse Technical Wizards take the colored art and repaint it on computer.
You know, with a computer, even a chimp can do comic books now. It's easy.
On computer.
Let's move on to the next section. Yikes, I guess I won't be asked back to that department. Rich, you don't want to know. Now, what process are we in here? Where are we in the whole... This is film you're looking at, and what this department is the camera and stripping department. We take all the films, we assemble them for the printer in a printable format that they can use.
And then this goes off to some big plant somewhere where they actually print out the comic books, right?
Exactly. Oh, well, comic books may look like kid stuff, but I hope you've learned from this segment that it's really serious business.
Well, that was back in a time when they still sent the original art into the office for them to do all the pre-press from and everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That all the 90s, man, they would ship all that stuff in.
Damn, that would be. I don't know. I'd love to have been in an office like that.
Oh,
doing
man.
that back in those days.
Absolutely, dude. Can you imagine, like,
how many of those originals got shoved in a bag and taken to my house? You know.
Yeah, man.
You didn't get your originals back. I don't know what happened. They got put in the mail. Damn post office.
These aren't my originals. These are photocopies.
Like that happens like every month.
Yeah. I
Sorry, Frank Miller.
Yeah, my bad, Frank Miller. I've also found, and we don't have to do all of this because I really do have a ton of shit tonight. But and I don't know, maybe I'll skip this one. I had this thing where McFarlane was actually at WonderCon this year talking about McFarlane Toys Digital, the digital panel, talking about NFTs and sort of his perspective on it. And he's really good at kind of common man language on how to interpret things.
That reminds me, Todd, did you watch the roast of Tom Brady on Netflix by any chance?
I did not know. I watched clips of it on Twitter. It was pretty hardcore. Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. There was a joke in there that you would have loved.
No, I heard that. I think I heard the NFT joke. Yeah.
About Gronk saying that's not real money. Yeah. Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
So I don't know if we want to hear that because it is good though, but it's like probably a few minutes. Well, you know what? Fuck it. Let's share it. I'll share it. We'll just get on the list. Just
a little house cleaning. I won't be here next Friday because I'll be on the road to Missouri, and the following Friday would be our last chance to do the Heroes Con guest list before Heroes Con.
The Heroes Con guest list before Heroes Con.
Right.
What does that mean?
I had suggested we go through the Artist Alley guest list for Heroes Con on one of the shows. I'm not going to be here next week, so the next week after that would be the last time before the actual show the following week. So I'm just throwing stuff out at you.
Totally understand. Understand.
Cool. I'm so glad. Woo. Yeah. You are a bright star in my world.
Oh my God.
We're going to jump over to digital collectibles. Still 7-inch figures within DC Multiverse, but we have a physical digital or digital, whatever you call it, product coming down the pike. McFarlane Toy Store Digital, McFarlane Toys Digital launched over the last year. Quick intro video that kind of showcases what goes on in that space, and then we'll get to the
video. Pass those.
Talk about digital for a bit. It seems to be a conversation that people have a strong opinion about, right? Cool. My word of advice to anybody for 30 years, 40 years have been in the industry, has always been the same. Whether you like what I do or you don't like what I do, my answer to anybody that doesn't like what I do is the same. Spend your time and your money on things you enjoy. Simple, right? I don't know why people spend so much time talking about things they don't like and writing articles about things they don't like. Just spend your time and money on things you like. It's a way cooler day. It's a way cooler day. Here's the thing about digital. Here's the thing about digital. And it's a piece of, because I do some stuff sort of in the NFT digital art space, I call it. People understand a little bit that the world's a big place, and here's why digital matters to some people. I mean, they're speculators, okay, fine, but there's also two groups of people I don't think that most people give heed to. One is There are people who live in countries and islands that are across the world that it costs $25 to buy that toy, but it costs nearly $120 to ship it. $120 to ship it. That's 4 times the cost of your actual figure. And so they can't, and they won't, they don't have the funds. You can imagine they're often in a place, they just go, I can't do it. So they have 2 choices, ladies and gentlemen. They can either just go, well, I guess I'm not going to be part of the party, or you have to give them an option. And the option is, well, you can get it digitally. And then you don't have to pay the $130. Not as good for us that like to be able to have it on our shelf, but it's there, and now they get to still be part of the party. They get to be geeks, right? Nothing wrong with being geeks. Everybody here is one, but like to me, open up the door. The other one that seems even odder is that if you live in Tokyo and you're a young person, you can't afford a house. And if you've been to Tokyo in certain places, your house is about 400 square feet. You can't even put that toy hardly in your room, because if you get too many of those, you're going to have to live without a refrigerator, because that's taken up about a quarter of it. So they then can't have a bunch of toys like we can, so they're out of the party, unless you give it to them digitally, right? And so their options are, if I can have nothing, or I can have digital, I'll take digital, which is better than nothing. And here's the thing that's weird. My wife does this to me too, because she doesn't get it. She's like, why does anybody not want something? Why does anybody not want something? It's not in their hands, it's not physical. Why does anybody, it's not there, right? Here's the reality for everybody who says that, and that's mostly old people. You're all doing it. You're all doing it anyways. It's weird to me that you're doing something, yet you're surprised that other people are doing it. So here's how I know you're doing it. Pull out your phone, go to your gallery, and show me a picture of your grandkid or your son. Now here's what I'll say. That's not your fucking real baby. It's a digital image of your real baby or son or wife. But when you look at it, it puts a smile on your face and it gives you joy. So why can't you transfer that to toys? The answer is you can. Right? Just stop it, right? At some level, let people, I don't mind if people don't want to collect it. Just step out the side and let people who like it at the buffet just put it on their plate. If you don't like broccoli at the grocery store, walk on by it. Just walk on by it and put in the vegetables you like. But I don't never see anybody at the grocery store ever stop, go get the manager, tell them to come back and go, how dare you have that broccoli? I don't like it. I personally don't like it. My friends told me it's not very good. I don't want my kids consuming it. I don't even want it. No, you just walk by. I think everything you consume should be like vegetables at the grocery store. Walk on by if you don't like it. But here's what I don't do, ladies and gentlemen. I hate Brussels sprouts. And here's what I don't do. I don't go to BrusselsSprouts.com and go, fuck, I hate this shit. Right? I just don't eat it. I don't take it. I don't put it on my thing. I don't go to any sites about Brussels sprouts. And I just consume it. I buy what I like. And I take and I spend money on things that I like. And let the Brussels sprouts people do their thing. Right? So if you like BrusselsSprouts.com right now. I'm on your name. Are you real? I'm Rocky, man. Anyway, so the digital gives you an option to book. For $24.95, it's just a mindset. Either say, oh man, I'm getting a toy, and they're giving me a free digital. Super cool. Or if you like the digital space, you go, wow, I'm getting a digital for $24, which is about the going price, and they're throwing a free toy into it. I don't care how you get there, right? We did it with our Kickstarter toy with one. We had the comic book in there. Either assume you're getting the comic book for $40 and I'm throwing the figure in, or you're getting the figure and I'm throwing a free comic book. I don't care how you get there mentally. Some of you like both, that's okay. But the digital space, it's a real arena, and it's not going away. It's not going away, right? As a matter of fact, I believe a couple days ago, for a short period of time, Bitcoin hit all-time high, right? It hit all-time high. So it's not going away. Back to you, Brian.
So what we're doing with McFarlane Toys Digital, we're recreating the Build-A-Figure approach, but
Isn't that awesome? MK says, but wait, what do you mean there's other places other than America? What is this blasphemy? Yeah, it is fucking brilliant. He has such a way of making it sound obvious, and anyone that disagrees with it, makes them sound stupid. Right?
Yeah.
It's really good, man. Really good.
All
stuff.
right. So when you try to get me to invest in some digital thing, and I tell you I'm not interested, I'm going to tell you, Todd said, "Leave me alone. Don't pick on me." Because I'm very much, if I can't sell it in my store, it's not.
I know.
But for people out there that like it and want it, go for it. So.
Yeah. So I have something else for you. We'll just keep moving down the list.
Avery must be having issues.
I know.
It's got to be weather related, because I know there's some storms up there.
Mm.
Did you guys know hurricane season's like right around the corner?
Is it?
For those of us, yes. For those of us who need to be aware of that shit.
Yeah.
Like Zach and Todd and Avery and me. Doc, I don't know if you have hurricanes, do you?
No, of course not.
No.
But it does mean hurricane season comes. It means tornado season is waning.
Right.
Usually.
Right.
Rick says, "I love both physical and digital. Best of both worlds." I do too. I think that's the future. I think, being able to like buy the digital comic, or buy the digital card, or buy the digital whatever statue, and then also have it shipped to you. If for no other reason than you get the bonus of being the purchaser, right? I think there's something really cool about being able to say, "Hey, you bought the digital book, for instance. Here's the digital book. You also get the physical mailed to you. If all you do is decide to flip or sell the digital, you still have a copy of the physical."
Okay, so that idea I like. I like the idea of getting a digital property as well as having a physical representation of it. See, I'm down with that. I'm cool with that. But the whole idea of having just a digital thing, like I don't like reading digital comics. I just But if you can if you could take your digital web strip and put it in a published book, I'm there. I'm sold, So that's why I'm looking forward to what Adult Fantasy does in the printed space.
Yeah, I am too.
I
We're
mean,
working on
even
it.
Even if it's smaller and not as big and not as crazy and not as encompassing, I'm still think it's going to be awesome.
I told you that we got the printer from. I talked to Michelle
Fife?
Fife.
Yeah.
Michelle Fife from Copra, who had that. We were looking at that awesome comic. I emailed him and he got back to me and gave me the printer, and I was like, "Oh yes, thank you, man. Yeah." So I gotta go get
Printer
get
nerd.
Oh yeah, paper nerd for sure. I mean, it smells good. Like it's really awesome.
Anybody out there ever heard of paper porn?
No. Sounds painful.
Prawn. No, wait, I'm supposed to say prawn, right? Paper prawn. Yeah.
Hey, Andrew.
Yes.
I wish Avery was here, but because he's having problems. But without looking at the text, just look at the just look at the art. Do not look at the signature and tell me who this is. Okay.
Okay. I really don't know for sure.
I would never have guessed this.
All right, who is it?
David Mazzucchelli.
No freaking way. Okay.
It is
Okay.
David Mazzucchelli. So David Mazzucchelli is the genius who did Daredevil, Born Again. And
Is he known for doing animation?
No.
Because this is definitely like either a still or a
It's an animated. It's from X-Men. So
yeah. Okay.
If you've never read Daredevil Born Again, I highly recommend it. It's one of the best written and drawn books. Same thing with Batman Year One, same team. I believe from what I saw, I believe this was around the time when he was trying to self-publish his own comics.
Yeah. Okay.
Check this out. So there's this one. There's 3 actually. Check out that beast.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty nice.
David Mazzucchelli, anime beast or whatever from the X-Men.
Mm-hmm.
It's a storyboard. I can see the blue line.
Storyboard. Yeah, that's what I was going for. Storyboard.
Yeah. But it's like fully drawn panel.
Yeah, but we know for a fact that a lot of comic book artists, or at least they used to, would take jobs in other art mediums. Yeah. Storyboards was one of the big ones. But there's also advertising. Because comics don't always pay the bills.
Yeah.
But the one story that I always remember is the guy, I forgot what his name, Phil something Winslet, I think, was working on the original Dark Horse Comics Aliens vs. Predator, the very first series. Mm-hmm. And he only did he did the 0, and then he did like the first 2 or 3 issues. And he couldn't finish it. And the reason is he got an offer from what's his name to do the storyboards for Terminator 2. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I gotta go make money. Yeah. And it ended up being Chris Warner finished that series, which Chris Warner's freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
But he got Phil Winslade, I think is his name.
Oh yeah, that's
but
right.
he got offered to do storyboards for James Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you go do that.
Yeah, of course. But isn't that great?
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
And then there's a storm,
Okay.
like animated style, but
You know, this-
totally.
I'm not picking on him, but I picked up the latest issue of G.I. Joe from the new G.I. Joe launch,
Mhm.
and immediately noticed that the artist was different. And I recognized the artist like right away, and I had to literally flip back to see the name, and I'm like, holy crap. And it was Paul Peltier.
Oh, really?
Paul Peltier is a classic. You know, he's done G.I. Joe and all, but the artist that was doing G.I. Joe was completely different than Paul's work. But he's on the next issue too. So I don't know if the guy that started the series was done and they just are switching to another artist. I like Paul's art. And that image right there was very clean and clear, very much like Paul's art, but it wasn't what they started with, you know? Oh well. Side.
No, I it's you know, yeah, especially with those more simple styles, you would think that people could stay on a book longer. But but you know, they still do the same thing after the Image stuff happened, and I have some Image stuff tonight too. But after the Image stuff happened, they really made sure to not allow artists to do complete runs. You know, and so they would rather. To me, if an artist can't do 6 issues and get a book, why do I want a book with like 4 different artists on it?
Yeah.
But they won't allow it.
Well, if you think about it, the Ambassadors from, is it Mark Millar? Mark Millar, yeah.
Mhm.
Where each issue was done by a different artist.
That's different though.
But it was nice.
That's different. That was done on purpose.
It was done on purpose, yes.
And it was like legends, like some of the top people in the space, man.
Speaking of which, yesterday during my live stream on my comics channel, I was showing off some of the books I picked up recently, and I had one I wanted to show you, Todd. I wanted to show you and Avery. So when you get a second, let me know, and I'm going to show you this book. And I finally read it, so I know whether or not it's good or not.
Okay.
But, let's
do that. Let me show you this, and then we'll take a break from each.
Do it, absolutely.
So this is something I just recently discovered.
So we're going to take a break from you now. Now.
No. We're just gonna watch this trailer. Shut up.
Don't kick me.
I know. I won't kick you. So they are apparently. So we know that Frank Miller had some health issues a few years ago, right? And he's around. He seems to be doing okay, but you know, it took its toll. Whatever. Well, after the health scare was over, I guess, someone had the idea to do a legitimate documentary on him, like a full-on film. And it's now starting to come out. This is the trailer for it.
Okay.
But it's really good. And there's some things in there that are really fascinating. Like, I'm really questioning it. I need to expertise on. Okay, you ready?
This man, you talk about talent. He writes, he draws, he screenwrites.
So that's the first thing. What is that? That is awesome, and it looks like Marv.
No, that looks like the guy from 300.
Oh, maybe. Is he doing a 300
with all the jewelry stuff? Well, yeah, he's doing a sequel to 300 or some type of thing with 300 right now for his company. So that might be.
That might be it then, because this is. I don't recognize that drawing, and that's fairly classic Frank Miller. That's not that Wolverine garbage. You know?
All right, keep going.
Okay.
He screenwrites, he directs, and he is tops at all those things. And that's pretty damn good.
Frank Miller! I'd go into the comic book store and I would only look for Frank Miller. I wouldn't even look at other stuff.
He is 100% a genius.
There's something about his work that transcends comics. That's what great art does.
He made these massive leaps. The Daredevil series, grown in Wolverine since.
You can tell when it was recorded because Neil Adams is no longer with us.
Yep, that is true.
You know? Hail to the chief. Look at that fucking Neil Adams Green Lantern behind him. All right.
Massive leaps. the Daredevil series, Ronin,
Wolverine, Sin City, Superman 300,
The Dark Knight Returns, the introduction of the graphic novel to American superhero comic storytelling.
I have a relationship with the audience who I like to tease and I like to thrill.
Frank's power comes from silhouettes and shadows,
All right,
which
not that
makes
I-
everything more.
I just want to point out that the last few scenes in which you see a fan standing in front of him, whether he's going up to people, it's all girls that are not his. That's not his fan base. You know, that's who they're look. That's what they're focusing on. That's not.
What is the problem with having a couple of chicks say hi to you?
Those 3 chicks right there don't even know his name.
They totally do. They're shaking
They
his
do
hand.
not know his name.
Girls shouldn't be allowed in comics at all.
Oh my god.
They don't know his name.
Women ruin everything they're in.
Should we rename this this stream the He-Man Women's Haters Club?
Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
Keep going.
Women deserve less.
Who I like to tease and I like to thrill.
Frank's power comes from silhouettes and shadows, which makes everything more valuable.
I use less and less line. Finally, I just started using no line at all.
To be an artist is to speak your truth as loudly as you can.
The paper, the ink, the brush, the pen, everything matters.
He got to a point where he was recognized by everyone.
I had a tough time handling the success. It was a real test of character. Stan Lee, he said that my stuff wasn't quite up to Marvel standards yet.
Got into
I
comics
bet
as
you
an
he
artist.
said that to a
and I
lot
had
of
to
people.
fight.
You know,
Huh?
I bet you they said that to a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, they used
Look
to
at that. Look at this drawing. Where the hell is this?
think of all the people who are in comics now that weren't around back in the days when they used to just tell you to your face you suck.
Yeah, I know. Why
Like-
is every drawing that I've seen in this trailer fucking awesome?
I don't
Keep
know,
going.
man.
All right, wait, MK says there was a great Little Rascals callback. Which was the Little Rascals callback? I missed that. I don't remember.
To be allowed to write my own work.
It can look like a revolution when somebody's combined things that haven't been combined.
In my career, it's when I've taken the risk to follow the stuff I'm dying to do, the stuff that I think would be fun to read. Those are the most intense projects I've had and the most rewarding on every level. Through persistence and good luck, I managed to spend my life doing exactly what I wanted to do ever since I was 5 years old. That's about as American as it gets.
Fucking love that, man.
That's a Cinemark on June 10th.
Yeah, it's coming out.
Oh, we have a Cinemark right down the street. I may have to go check that out.
Yeah, the Cinemark.com movies. Oh, let's go. Let's look at this.
This man, you talk about talent. He
Oh,
writes,
different frame.
he draws, he
Let's see. I'm looking. What's your zip code, Andrew?
32225.
32225. 322. Oh, MK says Zach's He-Man Woman Haters Club. Okay, Zach threw it out and I totally missed it. Look at that! Look at that cover. That's dope. With live intro and exclusive custom collectible. Monday 6/10.
I bought some of those.
Oh, Tinseltown. That sucks.
But it's 8 p.m.
Yeah, it's Tinseltown. Yeah. June 10th. That would be 8th, 9th. Oh, it'd be a Monday. It's possible doable.
I don't know if we have a Cinemark around here.
I'll just wait till it's on streaming.
Until it's on streaming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh God. You don't want to watch it in a theater?
I hate theaters.
You hate everything.
Yes.
I like going to the theater, but I like going to the theater with my wife. Oh, there was this. We saw a preview for a movie, and it's about some pregnant lady. And my wife goes, I really think I want to see that movie. And I bit my tongue and didn't say anything.
Mm.
And then there was a trailer for Furiosa, and I'm like, dear, how about that one?
By the way, total sidebar, and I have more stuff, but we can take a break. We have been watching Fallout, and it is so fucking
So good.
It is so good. I am planning on, once we finish the season, because I don't want to ruin it. I am planning on going back and rewatching it and documenting the story structure, because I love the way they've broken up and introduced certain things.
Yeah.
I never played the game, so I mean I know Avery probably has. I'm super curious if it's there. I'm sure there's tons.
I haven't played 1 and 2 because those are isometric RPGs, and I can't play those. I hate them.
Oh, okay.
But I've played 3 New Vegas, and I have played the ever loving shit out of 4.
Mm.
And Fallout 76 is crap. I hate it.
Was there I mean, have you watched the show?
Yes.
Is there any Easter eggs or stuff like? I mean, I know there's got to be tons.
There's lots of stuff in it for that, but there's also a lot of stuff they fuck up. But it's decent. Like if you compare it to like Halo, which is unwatchable trash.
I like it.
They did to Halo, but the Fallout show's not bad.
I think the Fallout show. I mean, again, I don't know. I know that it's a game, and I think I've seen some clips of the game. Never played the game, but the show is badass.
Here's what gives them a lot of leeway. In Fallout, every vault is different. And every vault was set up for a different reason, and they're conducting a different experiment on the people in the vault. So the fact that this one is 3 vaults that are interconnected, okay, maybe there are some. It's like there's room that could be that's feasible. And overall, like the ghouls aren't ugly enough, but they're okay. They're kind of in line with Fallout 4. The power armor being able to fly without the pack was weird, because you can jetpack around with that armor, but it's a separate thing that gets added to your armor. It's not like a blaster thing in the hands, but still. And they kind of maybe fucked with the timeline of New Vegas, possibly.
All right. Well, regardless, as someone who's in the middle of watching it and doesn't know much about the franchise, I love it, man. It makes me want to check out the game. So.
New Vegas is the best, although they don't like that New Vegas is the best because they didn't make it. They hired someone else to make it.
Right, it's third party, isn't it?
Yeah. It's Obsidian. But 3's not bad. 4, it's the best as far as being a first-person shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of fucked up the story, because it's not as this is what Bethesda with each one of their games, and the same thing goes for Elder Scrolls. They keep streamlining the RPG elements more and more, to where it's more of an action game with RPG elements. They keep nerfing the RPG part.
Yeah, MK definitely don't. I'm enjoying this so much. Please don't spoil it. He says they took some liberties, but it was doable. The end of the season, the payoff Easter egg is brilliant.
Yeah.
I
had to stop. I had to stop because my cat spent all night outside on a cold night and came in the next morning. I let her in. I went back to sleep. Woke up, smelled hair burning.
What?
And my cat my cat crawled up on my home stereo receiver and puked grass all over it, which dripped down onto the circuit board and fried a bunch of capacitors. And
What?
so now my fucking home theater receiver is wrecked. So I'm not even watching television. I just stopped.
Doc, that's the most fucked up random shit I've ever heard.
That's insane. Yeah.
So fucking mad, dude. I don't have the money to buy another home theater. I mean, like, it was an older one, but it was a nice one, man. And I don't have the money to right now plop down another couple, $300-400 on a decent stereo receiver. But I'm fucking pissed. My wife's like, maybe you can save it. I'm like, you do smell that, right? That is the smell of destruction. Like, that is sizzle. Like, yeah. It's not supposed to smell like burnt hair. That's the smell of capacitors that have popped and fried.
Oh, that's so disgusting.
Like, it went into protect. She's like, it says protection mode. I'm like, well, we're fucked.
Protection mode.
Yeah, that's the key from like starting a fire.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not like I might be okay later.
Yeah, something tells me they didn't test for like cat barf hairball on the.
Yeah. There's one thing I'm waiting for with the Fallout for them to have. Hopefully, they'll have one in season 2. It's a very famous creature that's in Fallout, and if they do it good, if it's good and it's scary and it's violent, I will be happy. They didn't have one in season 1. They're called Death Claws, and if they have one in season 2,
So if I was going to watch a game playthrough, Fallout Vegas or Fallout 4 would be the one to look at.
Yeah, or Fallout 3 would be fine. New Vegas would be good. New Vegas is really good. But you're not a vault dweller in New Vegas. Typically, you're a vault dweller. New Vegas, you're not a vault dweller.
Start out as
the courier.
Yeah, that's right.
And Matthew Perry shoots you.
Been a long time since I played that.
Yeah.
Andrew, what would you share with us?
Just a couple of books I got.
But you have to understand it's an alternate timeline. It's an alternate timeline with Fallout. That's the reason everything looks the way it does. It actually happens in the future, but everything looks like retro 1960s.
I just got that. I just learned that like the last episode. I was like, oh, this isn't the 1950s. It's the future.
But certain things were never invented technology-wise, and things went a very different route. Like everything's nuclear powered.
What episode are you on?
7. I think we just finished.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're only on like 5.
I don't know how many episodes. I don't even know how many episodes there are on the season.
8 or 10, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What were we gonna share?
You want to spotlight me real quick so I can show?
Oh God.
You don't have to. It just makes it harder to see. So I got some new comics this week. I'm just going to show you a couple of them real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I picked up issues 2 of Rook Exodus from Ghost Machine and Image Comics.
Who's drawing Rook? That's not
Jason Fabok.
Fabok, right?
And Redcoat, which is Brian Hitch. This one, I'm really enjoying this one story-wise. I picked up, I haven't read yet, but issue 2 of Napalm Lullaby with Bengal on art.
Yep.
I picked up issue 306 of G.I. Joe, which is the Paul Peltier one.
Okay.
And I picked up issue 5 of Cobra Commander, which is the last issue in that series. I've enjoyed the crap out of this one. So
it's really good. It's a really good book.
And then I also bought...
And I'm not even a G.I. Joe fan. It's just a really good book.
I bought a Marvel book, which is weird, but I bought Immortal Thor number 11. This is the Art Adams.
Why would you... I don't understand, Andrew, why you would be drawn to that cover in that book. I don't
know. I just needed it.
Yeah,
but then I also bought... I also saw... Okay, check this out. This is... one of those large format books, 8.5 by 11. It's 48 pages, large format, by a company called Distillery or something.
Okay.
It's called The Blood Brothers' Mother. It's the name of it. It's a Western. You might not be able to tell who the artist is by this cover, but if I show you the back cover, you'll be able to tell who the artist is.
Oh. That almost looks like what's his name?
Come
Andrew shit, I'm blanking.
Come on, prove me right. Prove me right.
I give up.
It's Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Rizzo.
Holy crap.
From 100 Bullets.
Yeah, I was looking at I was on the right path because if you turn it back around, I was looking at his hand.
Yep.
And that is totally a Rizzo hand. But I'm so used to seeing Rizzo. So for those who don't know, Rizzo's artwork is dark black and white is usually his.
But here's the crazy thing about this.
No one can see me, but yeah.
Okay. It's full color. It looks like it's all watercolor.
Yeah.
And it's all him. This is his. He did the art and colors. And I mean, you look at these pages. This is him.
Yeah, that's totally
100%.
him. But I still even seeing the inside, I don't know if I would have guessed it because it's painted and not.
Oh no, you would have guessed it. You would have guessed it. Trust me. But it's a Western, which I'm not into Westerns, but I read it and it's a little confusing because it starts off with these three guys and then it kind of flashes back to these three little boys. And then you realize it's not a flashback. It's actually them going to a farmhouse with these three boys in it. And then the issue ends with them taking their mother, killing their father, and leaving with the mother.
Oh, wow.
And the second issue, this is the cover for the second issue. So I guess they're going to focus on the kids.
Wow.
But it's a tour de force of art. Every page is gorgeous. And one of the things I thought I noticed after I finished reading it is if you look at the first page is a 3-panel page, which is how I do Hero, 3-panel pages. Pages 2 and 3 are also 3-panel pages, which I like. But then he breaks them up. And then he breaks them up throughout it, but he does other things. But it's all just gorgeous work. And the only thing that threw me off on this is take a guess at the cover price for this book.
I'm gonna say $7.95.
So close. And believe it or not, that's what Zach guessed too.
Really?
But $8.99.
Okay. Yeah.
So little pricey, but I like the format. I like the artist. I like the writer. Not a big fan of Westerns, but I was willing to give it a shot. And other than some very brutal imagery in here on a couple of pages, it's very much a mature reader title, but it's gorgeous in my mind.
What? A book like that, dude, I wouldn't think twice about paying $10 an issue.
Well, see, the thing is with the comic book store I buy it from, if you spend $10, you get $1 worth of. So I always have to spend at least $10, and so that made it easy. And then a couple other issues brought me up to.
Yeah.
I literally brought like 4 comics, and it was $20.
Yeah, I would.
Which is so sad, but yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think twice about.
Yeah, and it's very much almost like a graphic novel. I mean, it's 48 pages. Yeah. It's 45 pages of story. So I actually counted it when I was talking to Zach, but no, it was. For what I got, I was happy. Yeah. Very happy. So
fascinating that it seems like more and more the industry is moving towards that kind of a model.
Yeah,
I prefer it.
It's very pretty. So, all right, you can take me off the center down. You can go back to you.
Just to share, this is Eduardo Rizzo. So, he usually has much more of a stark black and white kind of vibe to his stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Really, like his whole style. I mean, this is going to sound terrible, and I'm sure it's not true, but it really is like it's like, what if Frank Miller Sin City was like, you know, was your style? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the story, it's credited to Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Rizzio as the owners of the copyright for the story, which means this is a creator-owned series. So, I mean, they're not drawing Wolverine or Batman, you know, they're drawing their own creation. So,
well, they did 100 Bullets? Wasn't 100 Bullets creator owned?
I don't think so. I mean, it's a Vertigo title. I don't know if I'm pretty sure it's owned by Warner Brothers. You know, so.
All right. So check this out. So I found a couple of really interesting things. Just share my desktop for a second. So, do you know what this is? Graphic Fantasy number 3?
No, what is it?
So this is Eric Larson's self-published book.
Oh, okay.
Before he was pro, he was a kid. I mean, he was like 15 or something, and his family had a printing press, like in the family or something, and so they would print their own books, right? It was like they numbered it, signed and numbered, right? And so I was just I don't know why I was looking, but I was just kind of trolling around, and then I found this, which is number 3, and then I found this, which is number 1.
Okay.
And they're 8.5s, which is pretty cool. There's a Graphic Fantasy number 1. Of course, he was already doing Savage Dragon.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So there's the dragon on the cover. You can see he was using a printer, but didn't know how the fuck to do it, and just like didn't work really well. But doesn't matter. It's pretty cool. But here's the cool thing: is that this thing comes with a letter. You know, and of course it's all signed, but it comes with a letter. It's got a letter. The letter is awesome. And so, Andrew, will you be my guest and read this?
Hit the arrows up in the right-hand corner so we can see it full page. All right.
Okay, can you read that?
Yeah.
Or
Paul. Just minimize it back so it's all on one page.
Okay. All right.
Paul, here are the copies of Graphic Fantasy that you bought. I think that you'll enjoy them. I'm heading off to New York City Sunday to meet the gang at DC Comics. They seem mighty impressed with the submissions I'd sent them. It looks like I may soon be drawing comics for the big guys. I think these comics may be a pretty good investment. See you in the funny books. Best, Eric Larson. That's funny.
Isn't that awesome?
That whole letter was inspired by a Stan Lee letter. You know, see you in the funny pages.
Totally,
you know?
in the funny books.
Funny
Yeah.
books. Yeah.
Yeah, but just like, I mean, he was probably like, again, 17, 18 maybe. Like he was already done with his career and drawing Savage Dragon full time by the time he was like 27.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, man. I saw this. I was like, that letter made me want to buy this thing. And of course I'm not, because it's like $7,000. But I love that letter. That is so freaking cool.
Now it's CBCS is the graded, and it's got the yellow label, so most likely they are signatures. There's signatures on them.
Yeah.
CGC.
Well, there's on the back they sign and number it, and that's an original sketch.
Yeah, CGC had previously would only do signature verified grading if somebody witnessed the signatures. So for the longest time, the only way to get a book graded that had already been signed and not witnessed was to send it to CBCS. Now, CGC has bought another company or merged with another company that does signature verification. So they're going to start doing signature verifications without having people witness them, which means that Dave Schultz book that I have signed, Mark Schultz book that I have
Mark Schultz,
signed.
yeah.
I can get
Mhm.
it graded by CGC and signature verified.
Yeah, this is it says verified signatures up there. So yeah. MK says that's kind of cool. I love it, man. I mean, Eric Larson is a legend in the space. He's not like his early Savage Dragon stuff is fantastic. You know, I put him. He's up there. He's definitely in the pantheon. So seeing a letter like this, you know, even if he's not my all-time favorite artist or anything, like, that's such a cool letter, man.
Oh yeah.
I have a fan letter to Jack Kirby that's on my wall from a couple of kids that I got from the Kirby estate, and I love reading it. It's just,
Now, does this auction come with the letter?
Yeah, it's these two. It's issue number 1 and issue
Plus
number
the original
2
signed letter.
plus the original letter. Yeah, and if you scroll down, yeah, he's got an original sketch on the letter, and then you know, on the back of the comic, it's signed and numbered. And an original sketch, right?
7,000 or 6,595. That's still a lot, but
Yeah, but it's super rare. It's good quality, and you get that letter, so it's probably fair value. I mean, if I had to guess,
well,
you know, but
depends on how much you like Eric Larson,
right? And
especially his early stuff. Yeah,
you know, I just can't imagine he wrote that same letter to so many people. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
might have, but MK says Drew needs to send me a letter for my hero stuff and a book.
Wah, wah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
Speaking of Andrew, like it's week number what, like 3 of retirement. You've cleaned your office, I see.
The office is still in work. It's gotten to a point where I can move around it, so I'm not worried about it. But there's still too much shit on the bookcases.
Are you drawing?
No, not yet. Hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
I did some comic rack building and shelf building at the store today. And the only thing that's part of my retirement that I'm actually doing is doing my daily walking. I'm on day 13, I think.
That's great.
So 13 in a row of walking. So
excellent.
That's good. That's good.
So, yep. I told my daughter that she just signed up for her first 5K run, and she and I talked about it. And I told her I'm not trying to lose weight or exercise. I'm trying to establish healthy habits. And by getting up every morning, going out for a walk, doing almost a mile, it's a healthy habit to do. So,
God, I need to exercise. We went to this, I don't know, some family fun thing. We were on a trip. They had like a healthy zone thing for the kids. They had like a pull-up bar thing. I'm like, watch this. I was like, crap. Shit, man. Quick story though about fan letters before we move on. We had to write a fan letter. I think it was in 6th grade to somebody, like a celebrity, whatever. And I chose Steven Spielberg. But the letter I just remembered this. But the letter that I wrote, I got things confused, and I wrote a letter about how much I love Star Wars. So basically, his secretary wrote me back like, "Thank you for your enthusiasm, but Mr. Spielberg directed Indiana Jones and other films like such." It was a really nice letter though. I didn't get a direct reply, but I got a nice hand typed letter back.
Oh, I hope you did. I wish you would still have that. It's pretty cool.
I probably do somewhere. I probably do. I know I have my letter I got from Captain Crunch because I won the super prize in the cereal box, and he had to mail it off. And then they sent me a letter. It was like, "Ahoy, Mike! Ye be finding my treasure." And it was like some rinky-dink thing, but it was like the captain. I have that. I know I've got that.
Yeah, I've got my
Captain
rejection
Crunch's
letters.
autograph.
I still have my rejection letters from Image, I think, from Top Cow. Okay, so I was looking at Eric Larson. I was watching this interview. Eric Larson is a dick. So do you guys and this is maybe a little more, I have something for you too, Doc, specifically with crypto, but for Avery and Andrew, like are you guys, I didn't know this, but are you guys aware that Eric Larson and Jim Valentino pretty much hate each other's fucking guts?
No, but that doesn't sound like it would be unusual.
Oh man. So apparently there was this big war because Eric Larson has now basically in the last several, I don't know, for the past couple of years, anytime they talk about Image. So the context is that the original founders of Image, one was this guy. There's a bunch of them. There's 7 of them, but one of them was Eric Larson. Another one was Jim Valentino, and Jim Valentino ended up becoming the publisher for a while and kind of saved Image. Brought in like under Jim Valentino's thing was like Walking Dead came in and Invincible came in, like basically Robert Kirkman, and then they let him go. They basically like fired him from the position and installed Eric Larson. And so there's like a lot of bad blood and a lot of like, what the fuck? But I was watching this interview and listen to this shit, dude, like out of the fucking blue. Hold on. Can you hear this?
No.
No? Okay. Hold on. I always forget that I have to share. Okay.
That was just trying to get that sort of thing done, and trying to get some of those books to be a little bit sounder conceptually. There was, I was doing a lot of sketching of other people's characters that you didn't see behind the scenes, and helping to design logos that you didn't see behind the scenes, and talking people off the edge of doing their fly fishing comics or whatever, because there's just what you don't want is for somebody who's been working at Marvel for 20 years to go, okay, I'm finally going to break out and I'm going to go and I'm going to do a project on my own.
Mm-hmm. I'm hoping I had it caught. I don't know. I might have missed the clip. I had it, but I might have deleted. I might have accidentally left up the wrong edit. So hold on. We'll give it another couple seconds.
And then it's a huge failure, and then they just go back to doing whatever on their own again, because at Marvel or DC again, because it was a huge failure. And it's like, well, maybe you shouldn't have called it whatever. I mean, you see these psychoanalysis was a poor title choice.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. It's like I guess it's just a good sign, knowing that you were the guy helping out. It worked. I mean, I look at Image at that like point in around 2000.
I also, and I hate to say this out loud, but I did have people say to me, I just didn't. My ego couldn't take being turned down by Jim Valentino. It's just like, I mean, I don't want to be. That does seem like a really shitty thing to say.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
I appreciate you being honest. It's one of the.
I love the guy, but
it's one of the things that
I think there is the impression that of the artists who went and started Image Comics, his work wasn't the strongest of the lot, So it's like, the 6 of the greatest artists in comics and Jim Valentino. It's like,
damn.
Well, for my part, I didn't know.
God,
it's true.
It's true. And the only reason why Shadowhawk #1 sold the numbers it did is because it had that Image Zero coupon in it that you had to buy in order to get Image Zero. Nobody else gave a shit about issue 2 in that series.
Yeah, but it's still not the kind of thing you say.
Hey, it's true, and I've colored Jim Valentino's artwork.
Yeah, you've worked with Jim Valentino, but like, still like the guy. I mean, it's just, oh my god, tearing him up. Like, they really do not like each other. What's up, Richard? How are you?
Can you replay that again? I didn't catch all of it.
It's brutal. I'll be right back.
Hold on. I don't know where to start. 10. Maybe here.
But if I'm walking into a store and you shouldn't have called it whatever. I mean, you see these psychoanalysis was a poor title choice.
Yeah, but I mean that's the thing. It's like I guess it's just a good sign, knowing that you were the guy helping out. It worked. I mean, I look at Image at that like point in around 2000.
I also, and I hate to say this out loud, but I did have people say to me, I just didn't. My ego couldn't take being turned down by Jim Valentino. It's just like, I mean, I don't want to be. That does seem like a really shitty thing to say.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man.
I appreciate you being honest. It's one of the.
I love the guy, but
it's one of the things that
I think there is the impression that of the artists who went and started Image Comics, his work wasn't the strongest of the lot, So it's like, oh, the 6 of the greatest artists in comics and Jim Valentino. It's like, okay.
Well, I didn't. For my part, I didn't know.
Huh?
Honestly, if you were going to rank the 7 artists, Jim Valentino would be at the bottom of the list. But I 100%. Think Rob Liefeld and Eric Larson would also be at the bottom of that list of the 7 original ones. No?
Yeah. No, definitely. Like
Will Spertasio probably would have fought with Eric Larson for bottom because it was Jim Lee, Todd McFarlane. They were the number 1 guys. They were the top, period. Silvestri was number 3. I mean, easily number 3. And everybody else was just below them.
Yeah. So I'm not going to read this, but basically this all started because I guess when Eric Larson was doing the interview with Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg for Cartoonist Kayfabe, I guess he said the same fucking thing. But no, what he said was he was called in to right the ship, implying that Jim Valentino basically fucked everything up. And so Jim Valentino has, and I didn't know this, I found out about it tonight when I was looking at stuff. Jim Valentino's been having some health issues. He got sick and he's doing better, but he had pneumonia and apparently it was really bad. And so he was like, I don't want to die basically without like addressing this. And so he, it's all the stuff that he did. I mean, it's really cool. Like Liberty Meadows, that's right. I remember that. Walking Dead, Powers, Fire Breather, Noble Causes, Ted McKeever, he brought in Kurt Busiek, Mark Waid, George Perez, John Romita Jr., Warren Ellis, Frank Cho, Jimmy Palmiotti, and he's talking about how he righted the ship. And he said, and then I saw this. This is recent. This is 3 months ago. So you can see he's aged a little bit. Oh, you can't see it. So I found this interview with Valentino from like 3 months ago, and it was called Setting the Record Straight. And I'm like, oh, this is gold, man. Like, let's go. So you can tell he's aged a little bit, but
that's not Brett Blevins, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay, I was about ready to say.
I thought so too, but no, I looked it up. No, it's a different guy. But I guess this channel, this guy Niall Scalea started this with Billy Tucci. So it's a very indie comic friendly.
Pop XP.
Yeah, Pop XP. Yeah. But check this out. This is, and I'm not gonna play the whole thing because Jim Valentino later on in the interview kind of takes a shot at like basically saying, yeah, Eric Larson's just like talk shit about everybody, and but I queued this up. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I queued it up for a reason. So
leaving us in the lurch, but it was a matter of trying, of getting out there, of exposing ourselves, and the same thing with the library market. Now, libraries buy books in onesies, twosies, and they're real particular. But it's another revenue stream. It's another way to sell books. And I felt at the time that was very, very important.
Mm-hmm. And, what you're telling us, I mean, it's incredible of what you've accomplished over at Image. If you don't mind me asking, if you're comfortable answering, what did you know that, you being removed as publisher was coming, or was it a total surprise to you?
It was a shock. It was a shock. It came about, I was having an awful hard time with the publishers. And, admittedly, I am no day at the beach. Let's be clear about that. One of the people who was working for me was complaining a little too much to Eric Larson, not thinking that Larson would take the bait, but there were other things going on with Top Cow and with Todd. So things were not great, politically, but I did not expect that to happen. Who would? Larson was not qualified to be publisher. It was more about his ego, bad sales on Savage Dragon. And Eric's one of those people who believes I can do it better.
Mm-hmm. Now, would that whole decision had to have been made by all the partners?
Yes.
Okay. Did that taint anything for you for a while?
Yeah. To say the least. And of course, I was threatened at the time. Mm-hmm. Did it taint anything? I think I went through a whole year where all I could see was red. I was just angry as hell.
How did you get yourself out of that?
I didn't feel I had any choice.
Mm-hmm.
I had one of the things that was said to me was, "We can all get jobs at Marvel and DC. You can't."
Shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a knife to the back right there.
Yeah,
that's a horrible statement.
Yeah, it was, and it hurt really bad. It's true, but it hurt, and it was unnecessary. So how did I get it? I just felt I didn't have a choice. I had no options. So go ahead.
I guess so reading your post, you said, hey, look, when you came in, they were in the red, again, I loved the one comment, I righted the ship. I'm the one that did that. I'm the one that righted the ship. And you said that this coup came after 3 years of being in the black.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, where was the justification? You know what I'm saying? You're making money. There's obviously a trail.
What is going on, behind the scenes? There was a lot of things going on, and Eric was always liked a lot more by the partners than I was. I was the guy that they felt did not fit into Image, and took every opportunity to remind me of that. And when I took over as publisher, that really didn't change a whole lot. So it was a pretty much complete lack of respect.
Yeah. So when you said you would take this position as the publisher back in '99, were they with that attitude that you're kind of saying? Were they kind of hesitant, yeah, no, let's think about this, or did they say yes, go for it?
They said go for it because they didn't see any other options. And
because none of them were going to step up.
Huh?
None of them were going to do it, right?
No. And I had a plan, and I presented the plan to them. You know, I said, this is what we're going to do, but I'm going to have to scorch the earth to do it. I'm going to get rid of all this shit. It's the only way that we can rebuild, you know, replant. You know, you got to till up the soil, put in the fertilizer, and bring in a whole new crop. That's what we had to do. There was no two ways around it.
Do you think, you know, you said there was a bunch of stuff going on behind the scenes, a bunch of this in people's ears and stuff like that, that kind of contributed to the coup happening. Like, do you think that, say, other than Eric, who had a direct, you know, voice in his, you know, attached to his ear that was complaining to him, do you think that the consensus group was just uneducated in what was going on? Do you think they were too far gone to actually see the real picture of what was going on, and they just made a gut check decision?
Yeah, I don't think they knew what was going on with the company. They certainly didn't know about the plans that we were having and stuff like that. They certainly didn't know. I mean, I had just brought in Matt Wagner, an old friend of mine.
Yeah. Mage, yeah.
Mage, yeah. And a lot of these things were built on the relationships that I had built over the years. And with some people, they really didn't, where I didn't get along with that person. Luckily, I had Eric Stevenson there, who is much calmer than I am, and a much better memory than I have. And he could get along with some of these people that I didn't get along with.
Now being able to...
It's a fantastic interview. It's really good. But isn't that crazy? He takes another shot at Larson later on. It's clear they really don't like each other. But isn't that fascinating?
Oh, yeah.
Well, so how long did Eric Larson last as publisher of Image?
He was publisher of Image for like 4 or 5 years, I think. And then they just passed it to Eric Stevenson, who is still publisher to this day, I think.
You know what's so funny? If you have a group of people, there's always somebody that's gonna be the bottom of the popularity. But you don't ever tell them that. You know, you don't have to tell them. Everybody knows it, but you don't have to tell them. Like in this group, it's Todd. You know, but we don't tell him that. We don't tell him, Todd, we could literally kick you out of here and nobody would notice.
Well, it's pretty bad when as a group everyone is like, we're all good and you suck. You're the one that doesn't belong here. And he makes it clear throughout the rest of the interview that like all of them made it really clear to Valentino that he was like
honestly, I guarantee you Jim Valentino could have gone back to Marvel.
I'm sure of it, yeah.
Or even DC. He could have gone to DC. I mean, I don't see where he could not have done that. But yeah, they just wanted to rub it in his face. That's sad.
I mean,
isn't that crazy?
You don't do that to your friends, you know.
You don't. I mean, even if you're not friends, because they talk about it too. He talks about it too. Like they're not friends. They're like that aura of like, hey, all of us are getting together. Like they were just a bunch of independent people. They never did group meetings or like, you know how you think you like get to, he said, as of this, they said they're about to do a meeting over Zoom, and it's like the first meeting that they've done in like 6 years or something. Like they don't talk to each other. They never hung out with each other. They never really talked to each other. It was just there for voting and that was it. And they all had their different camps.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, you know, that's true for a lot of creative endeavors. Like I was watching this documentary about Monty Python, you know, the comedy troupe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty clear that it was the same thing with a lot of those guys. They really weren't friends. They liked each other. They got along with each other, but they were guys who just worked with each other. And, you know, once it was over, it was over. I mean, so I can sort of see that going on here. I mean, I think just being a dick about it doesn't really help. Because,
right.
Because the other guy's always going to get a say on it. I mean, and you know, Jim Valentino, he did the Max and a bunch of other stuff and like
no, Sam Keith did the Max. Jim Valentino is mostly known for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he
Shadow
did Guardians of the Galaxy. And by the way, Doc, I just sent you something to check out on the DM.
Let's not forget Jim Valentino's greatest work. Bruce the little blue spruce.
Yeah,
Bruce Little Spruce.
The little blue spruce.
Yeah, that happens to be the one Avery worked on.
It was a children's book.
I still have it. I've got a copy of it.
I have a couple of copies sitting right behind me.
Oh man,
I need to get them signed.
No, I don't think he'd give back to you.
I know.
You handed it to him to sign, he'd take it away, and you'd never see it.
No, I got paid for that, so I don't have any.
Richard says, does anybody remember Fire Sign Theater?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Not at all. Doc, did you see that link? Oh, you're muted.
You know,
I did, and I saw you post that the other day, and I started reading it, and then I was like, "This requires my brain," so I stopped there.
Yeah.
Paused for another moment.
All right, I was like, well,
I was deep in the focus mode.
I wish Dusty was here tonight because he kind of understood. He actually he was like, "Oh, it's like this," and he wrote I was in a meeting with him, and he drew out this graph, and I was like, "Oh, that kind of makes sense." But
Yeah, I saw him post that. I'll need to dig. It looked interesting, but I still need to wrap my head around.
All right, we're looking at this thing called hybrid DeFi, but I can't personally explain it. Dusty's really better at it, and so I'll just have to get him to do it later. I was just trying to cross the streams. What about this, guys? Have you seen?
I mean, it seems like it's like 404 stuff, right?
I think it's tied into that.
Like tokens wrapped in, or
NFT.
tokens, fractionalized tokens, NFTs fractionalized as tokens.
Yeah, but it's deeper than that. I mean, oh gosh, hold on. Let me just share the page because just so we have a visual.
Let me click on it here.
Yeah, basically, it's a hybrid DeFi. It's uniting NFTs and tokens. Dusty did a really good job of drawing this graph for me, and I wish I had taken a screenshot of it because it made a lot of sense. But basically, it's a way to wrap. I'm going to butcher this, so I'm saying in advance, I'm not going to get this right. Dusty knows it way better than me. But basically, it's a way to, because you're wrapping an NFT around a token, fuck it. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna read what Dusty wrote because I'm just gonna butcher it, and it'll help me. It says, "Still learning. I could see a use case where you could peg it to multiple coins and establish a minimum value for in-game items." So he says, let's say you have a limited item in a game. Let's say you have 100 swords. You peg the value of an item to a token, so one sword equals 100 token. Okay, so now you have an in-game relationship where one sword equals 100 token. But then you also peg the sword to USDC because that token has a value.
Yeah.
Right. And so you can peg it with allocated funds from the mint so that now one sword doesn't just equal 100 game token, it also equals 100 USDC. So it's adding value, cash value from both sides. So you have an in-game token, but the in-game token is potentially inflationary. So you add a deflationary element to it because it's now tied to actual stablecoin, right? So 100 USDC equals one sword equals 100 game token. Right. And then from Dusty's perspective, if you tax the trade so that when that stuff starts selling, you actually have like a 5% tax or something. That starts kind of pushing that price up, and eventually that allocated support pod means that it's now worth $125 USDC. So you have a based way to kind of push it up and up and up through people buying, selling, and trading. right? And so now, in that example, 125 USDC equals one sword equals 100 in-game token. So now the value of everything has increased because you have a real currency supporting the digital item, right? Which is pretty dope. It's pretty crazy. Richard says, "Isn't capitalism fun?"
Yeah, it's cool, man. I was working with someone for, I don't know, a couple of weeks on using this wrapped NFT wrapped token kind of stuff, trying to figure out ways to do like OTC trading of vested token amounts and raises, and doing some other stuff with fractionalized escrow, which I see like this mentioned in here. Yeah, it makes sense. There's with these like dual token systems, you know, especially when you are trying to there's a point in which an outside person isn't going to be willing to pay $5, $10 a token, whatever. So finding these systems where you can peg to, like you said, like this USD thing to keep that one in-game token at a rational price is pretty interesting. Mixmob does a cool thing where they've got a soulbound token on Solana for their in-game currency, so you can earn the token and it has value, and they have a dynamic way that they issue it based on the number of users per season. They'll issue so much of the rewards token, but it's pegged against something else so that while you can't trade it, it still has a certain value that it holds throughout, and it's supposed to solve the inflationary dual token metrics. It's pretty interesting if you read their white paper. But yeah, this stuff's cool, man. Token wrapping and NFTs is something that I've been, with Phantasma, that's something that was advertised but never used for many years. So I've been on this token infused NFT thing for a while because it's a really cool way to work out some problems if you do it right and do it creatively.
Yeah, it's definitely moving towards the future. Richard says, "Just give me good old fashioned green." Yeah. I know. I wish it wasn't going to zero. I'd like my Burger King hamburger to be less than $9, please.
Yeah, no kidding. Dude, I just saw a tweet earlier. It was from Robert F. Kennedy. He's like, "I'm here in Colorado about to do this zip line. Let's figure out how much the national debt goes up by the time I get to the other end." He's like, "Wee!" And it goes over this gorge. It's about, 45 minutes, something long. Dude, $847,000 in just 30 seconds. 45 seconds.
Richard says, "This old country boy doesn't have a clue about Bitcoin." Yeah, just it's digital gold, store of value, and it's easier to transport. In my opinion, it's easier to transport.
Yeah.
So if you understand why people buy gold and silver and kind of put that in a safe or a duffel bag or wherever you put gold and silver, understand that it's if you really needed it, if you really wanted to use it, if you really wanted to beat inflation or to activate it, it's using gold and silver, in my opinion, is a lot harder because just try to take a duffel bag of gold onto an airplane and see what happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get pulled over by the cops and let them find a duffel bag full of gold bars in your back. and they're they by law they have to confiscate it.
Yeah.
Right?
Not to mention FEMA tracts.
Gold coin is shoved in my prison wallet.
Prison
You don't
wallet.
need that though. You don't need that
That's right.
there. But
That's
it's also representative. It's like entropy and energy. It's representative. It's a proof of work of the energy that was required to solve the mathematical problems to validate the network. And it's also that store of energy, of the value of that was used in the creation of the mining of that one particular Bitcoin. Yeah,
for sure.
And it's
I love
cool.
it, man. I like it too because we've been talking about internally ways to kind of I would love to to have a token. And you know, the more we talk about doing an animated show or some kind of discovery mechanism for adult fantasy, you know, I'd love, like, we like, oh well, what if we had a token and then people that watch get allocation, right?
Dude, I will off camera sometime. I will tell you my idea.
All right, we'll do it. We'll do it after tonight.
Yep.
We'll do it
Because I have thought about that before.
But this is why I'm interested. I mean, I don't know. I mean, hybrid NFTFi is. I mean, this is brand new. I think there's like one use case, and it's on Sol, which is fine. Sol's great, but it's not. This is not like something that's been super adopted yet. But it is fascinating, and
it's complicated, and it is fascinating. But the more we have to find tricks like this, the more that I feel like, and there's been a lot of, if you want to veer off into crypto commentary for a moment, there's been a lot of stuff, like especially the gaming.
Doc, this is your block, so we're moving back. We've got some more nerd stuff that for these other dorks, but this is like
is this my block of time?
This is
so there's been like recently there's been a lot of stink on Twitter because people are finding out how much deal flow and good deals these like gaming KOLs are getting, right? And how, you know, you sign on, you get the good discount, and then somebody it's not even really an expose if you've been in the industry long enough about how VC deal flow works and how they'll like sell out the public at a certain valuation, and then they'll go back to the early investors and be like, well, we're going to give you the strategic round at this valuation. It's going to be a 10x. Like, duh, that's how it works, right? Yeah. So, but it's weird. But the more we have to get into like these weird standards and pegging and stuff like that, the further we actually get away from everyday people being able to use this as its intended purpose, right?
Yeah,
because
it has to be simple. It has
compounds.
to be simple.
It compounds the complexity to no end.
Yeah.
So, and the more that I feel like the majority, and you already know I feel this way, the majority of projects don't actually need a token, but the industry is broken to the point that we require it to raise money because of the way that the venture capital works. They want the quick exit. They want to make sure they're getting theirs, whatever.
Well, they all, although guys, they all recognize the stock chart, right?
Yeah.
They all recognize the money chart. So
yeah. So, but yeah, this stuff is cool, and I love this kind of stuff. I think it's when people are trying to, like, when you're inventing new tricks, and maybe there's a way to abstract it away so that it makes sense for like a consumer at one point. But you know, I would love to see the industry shift towards a model when we're making actually like consumer stuff to go to like more of a Web 2.5 model where it's like, yeah, we'll invest in you because it's a great idea, and we're willing to take some equity in your company, you know, instead of like forcing you to create this token because we're in it for the long haul. And now I can make something where, you know, hey, you can pay for an adult fantasy comic book because we built our platform now and our whatever the hell, right? And we can take ETH or Matic or Bitcoin or whatever your token is, and we don't have to worry about, you know, especially for small independent entertainment stuff. You know, I'm never going to raise the market cap of my token to support my independent venture and have to continually manage the supply and the mechanics of that by get market makers and all this kind of stuff. Like, hey, I'm just like a musician, or I'm just doing this one little thing. Like that is undeserved extra pressure it puts on people who could do something cool in this space with the ethos and the technology, but it forces too many people out because shit, man, what am I going to have? Dotcoin? What's my utility except for being handsome? I mean, what else can I really provide? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just off on a tangent.
No,
But-
it's super smart, man, and I love how at least there's so many smart people that are doing their best to kind of solve the issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just everyone understands that token equals a utility, but no one can figure out exactly, you know, a universal utility.
Exactly.
You know, it's very challenging. And it's not that you need a universal utility, but you need some kind of common ground, you know?
Yeah. You could have a mix of, if I'm taking a network token and I'm viewing or watching and earning some sort of rewards or government's token, that it could still have a value that's not tradable, that could be redeemed, and all that stuff happens on the back end, right? That's like how with the Mixmob. It's a non-tradable token, but it's actually on chain. It has a value peg, right? But Todd can't send it to Drew to make more money, right? And they have it set so you can't game it to where like, it's why it's like this dynamic thing. And it's a smart move. It lets you be like, yeah, here's the thing that's on the chain that has the value, but it's only for you to spend. And I like that. You know, I like that model. There's different things you can do. I'm not an economist though, just a dude. You know, what the hell do I know? But I think as far as like blending the way that we're used to interacting with products, or especially like gaming or, you know, any kind of shit like that, you buy tokens for all sorts of stuff. You buy points, you know, an Apple store or whatever, you know, you buy Roblox points. It's all the same shit.
100%, man. Well, you know what's interesting? That's actually a perfect segue. This is good because I think this is for everybody. I found this and I've been thinking about this for a couple of days now since it came out. And this is from Cosmic Book News, that there's a lot of comic and game stuff. And it says Gen Z has no interest in Disney Plus, Star Wars, Marvel, according to Samba TV. Younger generation isn't tuning in, but they are watching lots of Netflix. So they love Netflix, but they're not sticking, like all of these legacy brands that Disney bought, like Marvel and Star Wars and all this, is not sticking with the new generation. And I guess Bob Iger confirmed that it's been a $4 billion loss for them on streaming, which is crazy.
Phew.
Yeah, $4 billion, bro. And I think that's actually really interesting. I mean, look at that. The percentage, Gen Z percent of streaming time. Like Disney is 5% and Netflix is almost 60%. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And which is crazy because I actually spend most of my time on Prime Video. Like I find Prime to be way better than Netflix for me, I guess.
I don't know. I steal all mine. I mean, borrow it.
Yeah.
But I can tell you this much. I hate all the UX on every single streaming service. It's horrible. It's like, hey, Netflix showed me some cool stuff. And then I turn it on again. I'm like, where's that? Like,
where's all my stuff?
The algorithm made you something incredibly new and amazing. You know, like things to watch while you're folding socks. You know, it's just like, come on, guys, just show me the same shit so I can find it later.
Yeah, I also wonder if this 5% on Disney Plus and 59% on Netflix. I mean, this is. I think this is a great sign for us and sort of a.
Oh yeah.
And it might be too early to call it, but it certainly suggests that it certainly suggests that the reason. Basically, it suggests that there's an open door for all of these independent projects, right? Like if Disney still had a lock on if Marvel was still at the peak and Star Wars was still at the peak and Lord of the Rings was at its peak and all of these things were at its peak, there would be no money or a lot fewer, you know, disposable dollars, right? Disposable income to spend on NFT projects with new IP or indie comics with new IP, right? It just wouldn't happen because, you know, you only have so much cash, and so your money would go to the new Star Wars movie as instead of supporting that indie creator. But what's happening is you know, what started with like the YouTube celebrity, the YouTube superstar with the Justin Bieber kind of effect, is now spreading outward to become the norm. And I think because there's so much cool shit out there and so many people doing so many cool things, I think it's really starting to hurt these multi-billion-dollar legacy brands, you know.
I agree. Well, I mean, but then again, it's like, how do you reset what was an underground or like marginalized fan base when we were growing up. It's now like completely proliferated into pop culture. You know, how do you reset that to the indie thing? Because is it fresh and is it new? How do you get that to be new again and cool? I mean, I agree. People are tired of this stuff. You know, it's like I don't even know how to describe it. It's we're all stuck on this thing that we used to just have, you know, have our little shrines in our bedrooms and be like, I love Star Wars, you know. And now it's like you go to Walmart and you find your sippy cups, your Star Wars diapers, whatever. It's like it's not cool anymore. But how do you make this pop culture cool, and how do you reset it down to like this level of like what it used to be? You know what I mean? When comics and pop culture and all this kind of stuff is everywhere, how do we as independent creators go, we're going to distill this back down and make it cool again, and here's the people who are with it, and how do you push that out? Is it just another comic book, or is it cool because we're doing it differently, you know?
Right.
Well,
does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it totally did. And it's this is actually an article that Zach wrote. So
I read that.
Yeah. I mean, what did you guys think? I mean, my argument basically is that a lot of it's just due basically to creative exhaustion and generational change. I mean, fact is, Star Wars, the average Star Wars fan are guys our age. I mean, it's got, you know, people who either saw the movies in the theaters or who grew up watching them on VHS, and you know, it's not just an entertainment property. It's the mythology. It's part of the shared mythology of our childhoods.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, and the thing is that but the thing is, the thing is that the younger generation, the point I was trying to make is that like a lot of these franchises, not just Star Wars but Marvel, Star Trek, and also they have a natural lifespan, they're like living creatures, and part of it is because that the nature of the story kind of ultimately places limits on what you can do within that story while keeping it coherent. Like, for example, Star Wars, you have certain expectations about it. You know, you gotta have Jedis, you gotta have evil empires, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, you're gonna run into a limit about what you can do with that. Not to mention the fact that they've never, you know, that Disney, by shutting down the old extended universe, got rid of a lot of the non-Skywalker solo characters that had fan bases, and they could have potentially carried it over to carried it on beyond, you know, because the actual actors are like either dead or getting pretty close to it. But also, it's just that there's a limited number of stories you can tell, and also the younger kids coming up, they don't really care about it because why would they? Star Wars is their dad's thing. You know, it's like Harry Potter. It's like guys for example, I never got the appeal of Harry Potter, but I was in like my late 20s when that came out, and like younger millennials who are obsessed with it to this day, you know, J.K. Rowling's politics aside, you know, they're going to keep that alive for a while. But the Gen Zers, why would they care about Star Wars? Why would they care about Star Trek? I mean, it's not their thing. I mean, it's what their dad was into. Their older brothers. I mean, they want their own thing. And
Richard says Doctor Who is now Doctor What.
You know, what happened is, you know, I think that thing is going to be manga. I mean, it says something about the American creative industry that the next big thing is going to be manga. But you know, Doc, to your point, like, you know, as far as the next underground thing coming up, I don't think you really can, you know, engineer that. It can't be engineered because it's like when I'm old enough to remember when Dungeons and Dragons was still very much an underground thing. I mean, today like jocks play D&D. When I was growing up in the 90s, I mean, it was starting to change then, but it was still a point that if you played Magic, if you played Dungeons and Dragons, you kept that shit to yourself. Otherwise you catch some crap because of it. But the thing is that and the guys who were into it, you know, they weren't the cool kids, they were the nerds. But the thing about the nerds is that they tend to be good storytellers. And what becomes an underground thing? What does them? That's lightning in a bottle. I mean, you can't engineer that. Yeah. It's like it has to be like it has to be something about it that jives with a segment of the population at a time. And a lot of times, you know, when these things these things suddenly appear to come out of nowhere. They haven't. They've just been around for a while. And it's just that the people, it's just that like with comic books. I mean, Marvel blew up in the 2000s, but Marvel was around for decades before that. The only people who cared about that were comic book geeks. But there were enough of them around so that when the movie started coming out, they were able to like make it profitable, and that kind of pushed it out into the. Well, this is gonna sound like a really dumb analogy, but I think it's apt. You guys remember the Twilight movies, right?
Yeah.
And those movies, like I remember reading an article about how when the Twilight fans first came to Comic-Con in San Diego, and a lot of the old school nerds were unhappy about it. They're wondering where are all these teenage girls and their moms coming from? Well, the thing is that those books had been like popular among that audience for like at least like 5 or 6 years before then. It was an underground thing, but but I think what causes an underground thing to become an overground thing to become the next big thing is that the underground audience supporting it is large enough to like push it over the top when the opportunity comes. So does that really help at all?
Yeah. I mean, but it's like even the medium or even like the subject matter. How do you refresh any of this stuff? How do you refresh comic books in a meaningful way? How do you refresh science fiction storytelling in a meaningful way? I mean, there are some great examples of stuff that does it, but
I mean, look,
it's like we made the thing that was our secret the most popular thing ever.
Well, the funny thing is that I mean, with science fiction and fantasy and all that stuff, I mean, really the features like self-publishing has been around for a while, and there are people you've never heard of who I've never heard of who are millionaires because of it. They're really and yes, they're really good at marketing. But a guy I follow on Facebook, he made a point that you can be the best marketer in the world, but if the product you're selling is crap, it's not going to do you any good. Whereas if you write a really good story, that shit will sell itself. I mean, like Stan Lee used to say when he was running things, is as long as the comic books are good, they'll sell. And he was right for a long time about that. So the stories are there, but the thing is that they're kind of under the surface right now. There's a lot of people following them, but they don't really register, in whatever passes for the media nowadays, because it's like like that band. It's like some band or like indie band that's able to fill stadiums, but no one's ever heard of them. Outside of their fan base, but their fan base is so large it doesn't matter. And I think, and honestly, I think it's with something like comics or novels. I mean, it's decentralized enough that, and the bar of entry is still kind of low enough, and new technology helps with that they're not really going to go away. They'll always be there, and there'll always be people who are willing to do them. And it's just going to be a matter of someone who can. It's just going to be someone who tells a story that comes out at the right point, that slips through the right cracks, that hits a larger audience in the right spot at the right time, and it'll break them. But you can't really plan for that. People have spent fortunes trying to do that, and it's always failed. Now, as far as the movies go, I mean, I honestly think that the old dinosaurs are dying because, again, I think movies as we know them are probably they're not going to die out, but they're not central to our culture anymore, because it's because like with stuff like YouTube, you can put your own stuff out there and you can build an audience. And there was actually an article in I think the Hankler about how YouTube stars nowadays are actually just turning away from Hollywood because they're saying, "Why would I work for you?
Right.
I would make less money. I would be, and you guys would have power over me, and I would probably lose half my audience because you wouldn't let me do the stuff that they actually like, And it's gotten to the point where you actually have Hollywood stars who are trying to become YouTube stars because that's where the eyeballs are now. They're not. No one's going to the movies, but they are watching YouTube. And 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 again with Netflix, again, it all comes down to the fact that I hate to say it, but like things like OneNote, Vampire Hunter, and OneNote, Attack on Titan, or whatever. Those have basically taken. That's Gen Z Star Wars. That's Gen Z's Star Trek right there.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Because why would they? We're old men.
Yeah.
Anyway, rant over.
Yeah.
But please, please read the
I'm even
article.
getting tired of some of the just anime tropes, man. Like the one I started the other day, it's a slice of life one. It's just called Bartender. It's about these people trying to hire a really good bartender for a hotel. I'm like,
Oh, the
okay.
slice of life enemies are terrible.
This one seems all right, but yeah, most of them I skip. But I just I needed a break from all the same old stuff. Yeah, I mean, look, I want to see this independent entertainment culture rise up again.
I want my stuff to be the next big stuff. Obviously, I want my.
Well, yeah.
But and I'm doing my best to make that happen. But it's not easy. I mean, the fact is that, I mean, all you can really do is just throw your stuff out there and hope the wind catches it. I mean, remember with Star Wars, when Star Wars came out, no one thought it would do anything. I mean, it was thought of as an art film in a lot of ways. And people said, Luke, people figure that Lucas will do this, and then his Hollywood career will be over, or he'll be like directing commercials or something like that. I mean, and the budget for that I think the budget for that was like what, $20 million in $1970, which was a lot, but not like it is today. But for whatever reason, it hit the public at the right time at the right place. It was the 1970s, things were down. People wanted like a good old fashioned, hero's journey adventure, and they weren't getting that from New Hollywood.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't.
Sorry. MK says, Todd, we need a graphic with grass. Then put things on it that we talk about. Tell it to get off our lawn.
I mean, the thing is, you can't plan for that. I mean, these things. People say, anyone who says that it's they saw it coming is bullshitting them. No one sees this shit coming because you can't see it coming until it happens. When it happens, it happens. I mean, who would have thought that Game of Thrones, who would have thought that A Song of Ice and Fire, which became Game of Thrones, would become as big as it did. I mean, it was just another fantasy novel, but for whatever reason, there was something about it that worked.
Yeah, but it's also overload. Like, I want to almost ban media from my house, from my children right now. It's like when my favorite book, which I still haven't, I found, is like this story about some alien that lands. These kids give him a bicycle tire and it fixes his spaceship, and they take him to planet Gloop or Blop. It has got some pop-up stuff. Man, even before I could fully read the story, I would just sit there and look at the pictures and imagine what it would be like in that world. And I can't really, my 6-year-old, I can't always fully get her to imagine or create a story with me because all this shit's always just flying so fast. It's too much sometimes too.
It really is, man. It really is.
It's too much. It limits the imagination because all the stuff that is so cool. And granted, there's some great, amazing animation even for kids, not like derpy cartoons, but really cool, well thought out, humorous and fun, cool stuff. But that's far and few between. But in the meantime, just assault, all this pop culture stuff is just, it's a constant assault on all of us.
Well, the problem problem is that, I mean, it's a constant assault because the corporations that bought these properties, Disney with Star Wars and Marvel, and Paramount with Star Trek, et cetera, and HBO, which is basically becoming the George R.R. Martin's personal playpen. It's like they got 2 more Game of Thrones inspired series coming out.
Yeah.
In the House of the Dragon, and I'm all for it, but you can't have too much of a good thing. But the thing is that, I think, especially with Star Wars, I think the problem was that Disney spent the money on it just when it started to run out of gas. And I think honestly, the next big thing that's going to come out, it's AI is going to be AI related. It's not going to be AI generated. AI and I have some personal experience with this. AI generated stories are just not very good. They're because like AI basically is a copying machine.
Yeah.
And maybe it gets better, but the stories that come out right now, the dialogue isn't very good. The plots are hackneyed. They're please make reading great again. Make me money. But I think though that I've mentioned this before, and I think on previous streams, if you can take AI and couple it with say like like one of those graphic engines that they use to generate computer game trailers or cutscenes for computer games. Like for example, the best Star Wars movie I've seen in the last 15 years was basically a playthrough with the cutscenes for like Star Wars like the Star Wars game like for one
Old
of the
Republic.
No, it's the one with Cal Kestis. Yeah. So there's like a walkthrough there. It's like 2.5 hours, like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
Of like got the guy playing through the game, and especially the cutscenes, and that was the best Star Wars movie I've seen since the prequels. It was much better than the sequels. The characters were good. The storyline was crisp, and it was all CGI. Now, imagine if you could take the engine that's used to create that, and pair with an AI, so that a lot of like the scut work that comes with animation. Hey Todd, I'm not boring you, am I?
No, man, I'm listening.
No. I mean, so imagine if you could take that pair with an AI, so it does like a lot of the scut work that comes with computer animation. It's like instead of like having to spend like 8 hours, like spending like 8 hours of processing time for like 1 second of 1 second of actual footage, you can cut that down to like maybe like 8 hours for like an hour for like 10 minutes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that on maybe not on a regular PC, but spend like you can drop $10,000 for a high end rig with top of the line processors, and you can liquid free on cooling units, keep it in check. I have a feeling you could create something that is cinematic level, and that's like almost photorealistic, and maybe to the point where the uncanny valley kind of ceases to be an issue. You don't need a studio for that. You don't need actors. You don't need a crew. All you need is just sweat equity and
Mm-hmm.
maybe like $10,000-$15,000 in computer equipment and software. And if your movie is a success, you'll make that back pretty quick.
Yeah. It's possible. There's some workflows like that. I mean, clearly it takes a lot of knowledge to be able to do like full replacement or like basically like I remember seeing a guy, he was doing some like some action scenes, and he had like a big, I don't even know what it was, a big something or another, but it was like supposed to be a sword, and he's standing on like a concrete wall or something like that with his foot up, and then he showed his workflow how he basically took that and used AI, and then he turned into like it was like like black chitlin armor, and then like flames behind him, and he was like some kind of knight in the scene, but. It was not just a still photo; it was a small scene, small clip, 5 seconds or something like that.
I mean, well, the technology is still in its infancy, but the thing about new technology is that as time goes on, it gets better and it gets cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, look at books. It used to be that if you wanted to like write a book, you had to like actually physically write it by hand on basically scraped out animal skins, which is what parchment is. Then someone invented paper. Then someone invented the printing press. Then someone figured out how to turn printing into an actual industry, so you can produce it en masse. Mm-hmm. Then someone figured out, hey, wait a minute, we can just put this stuff online, and all of a sudden, the cost of entry get lower and lower and lower, and the skills required to get it, isn't as high. I think that's the thing is going to happen with this technology. I mean, it's going to be complicated. You have to learn how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a story to tell, and you're willing to make this your canvas, you'll learn how to do it.
I'm gonna bump in because I want to share this with you guys. You guys, Zach was talking and it made me think of this as well. So this is something that I might actually pick up. I don't even know. 'Cause we're talking about books and just the amount. So just so you guys know, Humble Bundle right now is doing a special with Mike Mignola's BPRD. And like you get every single BPRD book, which is 36 books for $30. Now it's the digital, it's like the PDF or whatever the digital version. But this is like every single volume of every BPRD book. Like, and I didn't remember he had all of these, dude. He's been grinding it out. Like, this is just
I know it's well over 100 issues for BPRD.
Unbelievable.
Oh yeah. It'd be a good deal if I liked reading stuff digitally, but I don't. So
yeah, I'm thinking about it just to have it. You know what I mean? Like, I read PDFs. I don't mind reading PDFs, and I'm tempted to get it just to have the entire BPRD collection digitally. That'd be pretty cool. You know, for $30, like I don't think you're gonna beat that unless you try to pirate it or something. Like, and it's for the Hero Initiative, which is a good charity, right? It's pretty crazy. I don't know, but I wanted to share that because it's pretty cool. Anyway,
that is very cool.
Just put it out there. If you want the link, I can post it. In fact, I'll post it.
Yeah,
in the chat.
humble bundles are awesome, man.
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna post it in comments just so you guys can have a link. I think I can post comments and link. Yeah, there you go. Or maybe not. Did it cut it off? It looks like it cut it off a little bit. So there's those two posts. Oh, there's Avery. I should bring him back in. Hey, Avery.
What?
That's what Sharon. Humble Bundle is doing a BPRD book bundle. You get every single volume that he's ever done digitally, so like PDFs, for like $30.
Still wouldn't buy it.
Really?
I don't buy the BPRD books. I don't like them.
Oh God, I'm a huge fan of Guy Davis, so it's worth it just for Guy Davis stuff. I love Guy Davis.
Avery, can I ask you a very serious question?
What?
Do you like anything?
No.
All right, that answers that question. All right, well, that answers that.
Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, go for it, Doc.
So we're talking about the Todd McFarlane and the digital versus whatever. You guys know the VV digital collectibles, right? Mm-hmm. You've seen that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is one of theirs from their collection, right? It's a bat cow. How much did this sell for?
Oh no. You're asking me, so it's not insignificant.
I mean, it's not like a bajillion dollars, but
I'm gonna say. So this is the rarity. It's a rare piece.
I suppose so. Yeah.
I'm gonna guess. $3,500.
$8,500.
What?
Dude, this this is Spencer. From Socialverse, right? This is thing. They post stuff a lot from maybe this isn't VV, this is DC official, but I suppose. But they post sales from VV and stuff like that a lot.
They're high,
dude. They're high, dude. All the time I'm seeing stuff going for a couple grand. Well, some of it's legitimate stuff, but
Todd McFarlane. We should have talked about this. I didn't even bring it up. Todd McFarlane just sold. He created an NFT, black and white artwork NFT for the cover of Spawn #1. So he scanned his Spawn #1 cover because he owns it.
Yeah.
and sold a one of one, the only digital copy there'll ever be, representing Spawn #1, and it sold for $16,000.
I bet, man.
Oh wow.
So there is a market, and that VV, some of it's just like digital figurines too, right? It's hard. I went on their marketplace. I was trying to actually but their marketplace sucks. Like you can't sort by anything unless I'm in like the wrong land. I was going to try to find some examples, but they'll have it'll be like whatever X-Men 1, let's say, and it'll have the standard cover, and then they'll have like 5 other variants up to super rare, even though there weren't any. But
yeah,
some of those, and then some of those are like listed. I can't see sales. That's the problem. I can't actually see sales. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. But people buy it, man.
People buy it. They collect it. Well, and MK said that Bat Cows was mad. I lost interest. Yeah, I could never get into them, but DC NFT. We interviewed them at last year's Web3 Comic Con. I'm reaching out to them again this year for this year's Web3 Comic Con. They were great. I mean, at least in terms of Web3 presence and understanding the space, they're really good people, and they ended up doing a panel. Like they did a virtual panel for Web3 Comic Con and ended up dropping some like rare, unique DC NFT covers for us. Like that's pretty cool.
I never worked. I never got my claim worked out right with that.
Oh,
I don't know what happened.
Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah,
but I mean, and then you guys have seen the Game of Thrones NFTs they put out, right?
I think so. Yeah, a little bit.
With the horrible claw hand,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you win some, you lose some.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you though, like digital that VV site, I don't quite get it, honestly. I mean, I'm happy to pay $20-$30 for like a independent comic NFT drop or something like that, but some like gussied up rare NFT that's a variant issue that never existed, I'm not gonna pay $2,000 for it or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever, man. To each his own, bro. Like
each his own, man.
It ain't for me.
The only problem, and it's a blessing for me personally, like the only reason I probably didn't get deeper into VV is because I didn't want to be locked into their ecosystem. Like you can't just put it on OpenSea or something like that, which is ridiculous to me. Like why would you have a closed system? I mean, I'm sure there's a very smart, intelligent reason why, but I just don't understand. Like it seems like such a design flaw.
Yeah, it probably has to do with lawyers too.
Probably. In fact, that's probably it. The licensing part of it. That's probably what it is. Well, guys, this has been fantastic. Do we want any links? Should we send anybody anywhere? Andrew, you want to direct them to your comic shop at all? No, screw it.
Yeah, fuck it. Don't go by. Great.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Don't go to a comic shop so you can stay home and draw.
That's right.
If you want to join me tomorrow night at 8:00 Eastern time on my channel, Misfit Corner Scams, we have a live stream that we do, and it's always a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to try to make it tomorrow night. I think I'll be around the house, so that'll be good. And everybody, good seeing again. Richard, thanks for showing up. MK, everybody else for showing up. I really appreciate it. Rick was in earlier. Yeah, man. It's going to be a good weekend. It's going to be a long weekend. Have a happy Memorial Day.
Oh, yeah, that's happening Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, enjoy the long weekend for anybody who has to work and who still works and has the day off.
Still works.
Good for you.
Andrew, we want to see pages, man. Some sketches next week.
Well, I won't be here next week, so sure. Absolutely.
MK says, night guys, have a great weekend. My thoughts to those who lost members of the armed services. Know the reason for the weekend. 100%, man. 100%. Could not agree more. It's called Memorial Day for a reason. Amen. Especially coming from, I was born on Veterans Day, so.
Oh yeah.
Everyone cries on my birthday.
I cry every time I think about you.
That's right.
I was born on Father's Day. That's pretty cool.
That's because he didn't use lube last time.
Ooh.
Oh. Avery.
Jeez.
Anyway, I love you guys. Have a great weekend. Definitely remember the reason for the weekend. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. Awesome, guys. Love you all. Peace out. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a great